Jesse Rogers is on the CarX Tire and Auto Hotline. Jesse, good morning.
Hey there, buddy.
Good morning, boys. How you doing, Adam? Good to talk to you.
Hey.
You don't mean that.
I don't, but I thought, for our listeners' sake, I'd say it anyway.
Jesse, how in the H are they in the luxury tax, the Chicago Cubs, with that crap-ass roster?
Yeah, I mean, just adding
that's an industry term.
To the season. I don't think. Yeah, Jed shouldn't be proud of that fact, right? I mean, there's that side of them that want to say, "Hey, we're trying to win, we're spending," but when you spend and end up in 4th or 5th place and pay a tax on top of it, that is adding insult to injury to your season. Now, it's not going to cost Tom Ricketts all that much. It's going to be $1 million or less in my estimation. They figure these things out after the season. Includes some player benefits. So it's a moving target until they actually calculate it. But if Jed said it, then I'm sure it's true. It won't cost too much. Now, if they go over it again next year, which hopefully they will by adding good players, it'll cost a little bit more. But unless they blow by the number, it's not a devastating situation for them. It just looks bad. It looks bad that you're one of the teams to go over the tax, and you're probably going to finish well outside the playoff picture. I stumbled there for a second because they do have 18 straight now against sub 500 teams. Now it's a wing and a prayer, but if it's ever go time, this is it right now.
Yeah, but you're not getting any sympathy. I was there for Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins. The place was sold out. You're getting 2 sold out Pearl Jam shows at the end of the month. You've got Luke Bryan coming up in a week. Like $1 million. They'll make that in. They made that in concessions for Smashing Pumpkins and Green Day.
For sure.
So is this a?
No, it's a.
No, my question is this a way to get out of spending next year by saying, hey, we're already in the luxury tax and we're not winning. This is on Jed for not getting good enough players. We are already spending as much as we're going to. So by getting ahead of it next year, say, because you just said, it's going to be more costly next year if they continue to stay in the tax. Is this a way of getting ahead of spending next year?
I don't think so, because guys are going to make more money, raises, they don't have expiring contracts necessarily. Hector Neris is something to watch, actually. If he appears in 16 more games, he has a $9 million option that kicks in. So let's see if they play with that. 16 out of 40, that kind of makes sense for a late inning reliever, though he's a closer, so it depends on where they are. But it's only going to get more expensive. So I don't see how they can spend any less next year, Adam. And, to get better, you probably need to add. So we'll see at the end of the year what the press conference looks like, the things that Jed has to say, and Crane Kenny as well. I think it's just a reality situation. Look, we tried to win here. We spent over the tax. It just didn't work, but that doesn't mean we're not going to try next year, because I don't see how it can really go down all that much.
So as I look at their payroll, Jesse, and again, you're in the luxury tax and you're not in dead last, but you've been there a bunch this season, and you're what are they, 5 out again in the wild card?
5.5 out.
5.5 out. Okay. Yeah. They're going to get back Kyle Hendricks. He's off the books at 16.5. Drew Smiley at 10.5 is $27 million. Neris 9 is $36 million. David Bodie's last year of his deal, 5.5 is $41.5 million. And I can keep going, and I counted all the way up to almost 80, $75 million or so. They finally get done with their payments to Jason Hayward. So when you get all that money off the books, I know Steele's going to go up. Certain guys are going to go up. Jesse, they've got to be involved in a big-name player. Maybe it's not Juan Soto, but Santander, somebody that is a thumper in the middle of that lineup.
How about the guy that's going to be at Wrigley all weekend that's been on, the trade rumor block at least, and that's Vlad Guerrero, has 1 year left of team control, has not signed a long-term deal. Maybe he will with the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays may very well blow this thing up as they're in last in one of the toughest divisions. How do you not line up for him? Now, it'll cost you Michael Busch. Okay, that's fine. You trade first baseman for first baseman. Who cares? It'll probably cost you 2 really good prospects, though. Now, you make that trade.
You have to sign him.
Ready. you got to sign him. You got to sign him, and it's going to cost you a couple $100 million. He has had a resurgent season, 950 OPS this year. Great numbers across the board on a crappy team. Remember that. He's right-handed. You know how I feel about, you need lefties, but your beggars can't be choosers. You take a 950 OPS from the right side and you replace Michael Busch, and you have to give up probably 2 prospects on top of it. That's how you add salary in a big way, because you're probably not going to get Soto, which is going to be $400 million. Santander is fine, but I'd rather trade for Guerrero. You can't play all these prospects, right?
You're right.
I mentioned to you last Friday, I all their best prospects are AAA. I like depth. I like redundancy. I also like superstars. And that's what Vlad Guerrero is. Little dip the last couple years, but only from superstar status to star status. He's back to superstar with that 950 OPS. So yeah, Cap, you're right. Whether it's a free agent, whether it's a trade, you need to go big, and a guy like him would fit the bill.
But doesn't this go to the reason why they brought in Craig Counsell to say, hey, we've gone to the luxury tax now. We're spending. Do something with it. We've got all these prospects that we can bring up. Do something with it. We're not going to go out and spend because we brought in a guy who's known for doing a lot with not very much. And if we give him a little bit more, which he has now, he's still not doing very much with it.
Well, the answer is in the results this year, Adam. Honestly. Maybe his second year, he will help more on the margins. As I've said to you guys, he's felt more like a passenger of the bus more than a driver. He's kind of been watching stuff. But let's face it, horses win you races.
It's a bad take.
And managers help on the margins a little bit, right? Cap, we know that. Horses win you races. Vlad Guerrero, Bryce Harper, Bobby Wood, that's what wins you divisions and championships. Adam, they're 9.5, 10.5, whatever it is, behind the Brewers.
Oh, yeah.
Craig Counsell's not making up 10 games. He's not making up 10 games. You need the horses. They have a decent team that's underachieving. Even if it had overachieved, it was 85 to 88. They're not in the 90 to 100 win range. Great players get you there. So, yeah, they left some wins on the table last year. Okay, great. That gets you to the mid to late 80s. You want to get to the mid to late 90s to be an elite team, and you need great players to do that.
Jesse, before we let you go, they get the Blue Jays this weekend. Then they get the Tigers, who are calling up, I think, the prospect they just got from the Yankees in the Jack Flaherty deal. What's going to happen to Javier Baez? Is he getting DFA'd?
Oh, boy, that's three years of eating that money. I haven't looked into it too much. I'd be surprised if they ate that much. I don't know.
Would the Cubs pick him up if they DFA'd him?
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I mean, what are you going to do with him? He can't hit anymore. He's owed
sell
all
some
that
jerseys.
money.
Come on.
No. Yeah, you can sell some jerseys. I don't know if he's going to get DFA'd. It's hard to DFA a guy with 3 years left. That's a tough conversation with ownership. But maybe he's marginalized. He's not a starter anymore. He's a DH only, whatever the case may be. So, he has not returned to Wrigley. That's going to happen next week. And Rizzo, if he's healthy enough, is going to return in September. Neither of those guys have returned to Wrigley since being traded in 21. So that'll be something to watch. But more important, 18 straight against sub-500 teams. Now, the Cubs are 25 and 25 against sub-500 teams. So, they have the exact same record as the Tigers. So where is it written in stone they're going to, win the series against the Tigers? But if there was ever a chance to climb above 500, this would be it. The Pirates are not the same team as they were months ago. They play 6 of the 18 against them. Anybody holding out on a hope, for a hope here, this is the chance.
Jesse, now don't take this the wrong way, because it's a very well-written article. What I'm criticizing is the subject of the article.
Sure.
What is this crap? The 6-inning minimum? You wrote on ESPN.com that Major League Baseball is considering adding a 6-inning minimum for starting pitchers.
Yeah, well, they're kicking it around.
But you called it carve-outs too, right? Pitch count, all that.
Right, exactly. If you get to 100 pitches, you can be pulled before 6. If you give up 4 or 5 runs or more, you can be pulled before 6. So, obviously, injury, there's carve-outs. But the idea is just to get a base foundation requirement. So, no more openers. And what they hope is, for example, no more openers. The second thing would be, analytically, that guy, the third time through the orders coming up, he's at 84 pitches. He's given up 3 runs, and the manager pulls him. That would be eliminated. So it's really just impactful on a few days a week in a sense. you're going well, we want you to stay in the game. And then there's the trickle down effect to training and prep, and hopefully they pull back on velocity a little bit, and less injuries. So there's all these little things. It sounds radical. I don't think it's that radical. I also don't think it's going to happen, but it is something they are thinking about. And I got to tell you, Adam, I mean, pulling back the curtain a little bit, that's one of the biggest stories I've written in years. It was, I mean, they talked about it on the Mets game for like a whole inning yesterday. Like, people are discussing it because, if you read the article, you at least get the concept behind it, trying to get the starting pitcher back as a thing and eliminating openers and analytics and, max velocity and getting pulled, so quickly because of injury and all these things. So I like the concept of it. I don't think it'll actually happen in practice.
Jesse, have a great weekend, man.
You too, guys. I'll talk to you Monday. Adam, good to be with you, buddy.
Bye, buddy.
See ya.
It's a bad take.
That's Jesse Rogers on the CarX Tire and Auto Hotline. Don't forget Tom Thayer from 7 to 8 today. Really fired up to talk football with our guy. Sorry, from 8 to 9, not 7 to 8. Thank you, Shay. 8 to 9. Thanks, Jay Moore. We'll come more back to football. 312-332-3776. Yeah, my mind's already Wisconsin. I'll be right back.